sick. And physically sick is unfortunate that we have to get to that space and place, but it really sounds the wake up bell. So let's get centered. Let's get our butts comfortable in our chair. And I'm going to give you a very simple technique that you can use anywhere, anytime. I personally love doing this 3 or 4 times a day. It just helps bring down the level of anything. Like, we get frustrated, overwhelmed for various reasons, and we're all living a unique journey here. So we're going to interlace our fingers like this. You're going to put them on the back of your head. And as much as possible, I want you to lean into the palm of your hand should be on the head bones in the back. I just want you to lean into it, light pressure. I want you to feel your bones on the back of your hand. Take a deep breath. Press in a little bit harder. It shouldn't be uncomfortable, but you should know that your hands are there. With your head facing forward, you're going to move your eyes to the right, keeping your hands in place. Move your eyes to the right and just keep your eyes in that position until you feel a sigh come on, you feel a yawn come on, you feel a heavy breath come on. There's going to be a change. And that's going to be the regulation that you're looking for. So you're going to keep your eyes, you're going to feel the sensation of one of those things. And when you felt it, just hang there until you feel it. And you're going to press and keep there. Mine is typically a yawn. That could be different for everyone. And so for the sake of time, I'm just going to show you the next level, the next step rather. You're going to keep your hands where they are, keep your head forward and your eyes to the left. And we're going to do the same exact thing. We're going to just focus our eyes to the left until our body gets the signal that we're safe and we're balanced. And like I said, that can be a heavy sigh, a yawn. There will be something different in your body. You will notice it. If you're struggling with this exercise by chance, if you're not able to get to that space, don't have pressure on yourself. This might be a nice warm up before we start. If you want to do this with your hands, then interlock your hands, put them back on your head. That could get the energy moving a little bit more. What I love about this, you can do it anywhere, anytime. Typically, when we tie new behaviors to routines that we already have, like going potty, and we do the exercise when we sit down to go potty, because a lot of women I hear, I don't have time, I can't remember this, if you're going to go to the bathroom, and I hope you are, and you're going to take a potty break, this is a great time to give yourself that reset, to regulate that fight or flight. So that's just a little tip that you can use anywhere, anytime. If you are going to work with intuition, whether personally or professionally, you always want to make sure you understand your own body first and foremost, that you are in control of you. Okay? So we are here because something inside of us is calling for deeper connection, a deeper clarity, something inside of us and the world around us. We're here to listen, and not just with our ears, but with a full world of noise, expectations, and distractions. We often miss the quiet wisdom that lives within us. But today, you're showing up and you're choosing something differently. We're here to pause, to tune in, and to remember who we are. Intuition isn't a mystery. It's a natural part of who we are. We're all born with it. You're here because you're curious, because you're spiritual, because you know there's something deeper and more than you're living, and you recognize your intuition, and to a certain degree, you trust it, but you're probably looking for a next level. You're craving simplicity and you want more calmness, but you're looking for practical ways. Lighting candles, howling at the moon just doesn't always seem to do it. Not that there's anything wrong with rituals. I love a good ritual, but you're looking for practical ways just to bring forward what's already in you, what you already know. So let's talk about, first and foremost, let's get a working definition of what intuition is. Now, at its basic core, the definition will never change, okay? But intuition is essentially, it's your inner knowing, an immediate understanding or insight that just doesn't seem to have any logic to it. It's like an internal compass that guides you. Now, in a really simple explanation, it is your wiring, your direct connection to source. So, this is a big thought, and I want you to really wrap around this. We come in as empty vessels, right? We carry a contract, if you will, with us, but basically we have free will and we can show up and do or not do whatever we choose to do. Most of us, no, I'll say all of us, are living on conditioning. Our brains are set to keep us safe and in survival mode. And what equals survival? Familiarity. If it feels comfortable and it feels like it's something that you know the ropes to, you're probably going to store it in your brain up here and it's going to go on loop and on repeat. Getting back in touch with your intuitive self requires an understanding from you, and this is big, that you are hardwired to source. You know, when they say you're never alone, this couldn't be more true than when you're tapped in and accessing your intuition. I think about my Wi-Fi that's here on the side of me. Now, I have Wi-Fi throughout my whole house. We just became aware of the fact that my Wi-Fi is servicing 30 devices between all the things that we have going, right? And I'm like, I'm hardwired. My computer that I'm teaching on right now is hardwired, meaning it's plugged in. So what do you think the hardwire gives me more of than the Wi-Fi in the downstairs computer room? I get more consistency, I get sharper Wi-Fi, I get more clarity, all of the things that you get when you're hardwired to source. So what does it mean to be hardwired to source? It means that you are plugged in and understanding for you exactly what source is. I'm not talking about a label. I'm talking about the characteristics, the principles of source. I use God. If that word is not feeling right for you, use whatever word you need, source, creator, Bob, Allah, I don't care. But when I feel most plugged in is when I understand God's characteristics. God is love, God is patience, God, all of the things that you know God to be. When you are sitting still and you're focusing on God or source and you're understanding what it means to be plugged in, it means to be love, to be. We don't have to do anything. Let me let that sink in. We don't have to do anything. We have to be. Okay? You can't do love. You can't do kindness. I mean, you can do acts of kindness, but you can't do kindness. You can be kindness. You can be love, right? So when you're ready to plug in or to strengthen the connection, you want to be in a state of one of the God-like principles. I'm not going to tell you what that is for you. I'll give you a little piece of homework. Sit down and come up with what God is to you, or what source is to you, or what creator is to you. Some of you may say it's nature, right? And there's no wrong answer. That's the beautiful part of this. So if I want to be one with nature, well, I am nature, right? Because I have cycles. I go through cyclical periods, just like the leaves fall and they blossom, right? We are nature. I be one with nature. So however you define the higher power is how you want to get closer to your deeper connection, and that is your intuition. So some key aspects of intuition are, that gut feeling. We all know that gut feeling, a strong yes or no. You don't know why, but it's just coming up. How about the inner voice? Oh, I should have. Or, usually it's in hindsight that we go, oh, there it was. I missed it. Because it's going to be very subtle. I don't know about you, but I live in a very noisy world, literally and figuratively. There's a lot going on up here, right? And there's a lot going on around me. And so if I get something inside of me as a thought, we'll call it, and it's very faint, it doesn't feel familiar to me because I'm used to the bullhorn being out, right? Heavy, but this little, you're washing the dishes, right? And you get like, oh, where did that come from? Right there, that's your intuition. And also that's the same thing as a sudden insight. You've been looking for a solution, you've been trying to figure it out, you're walking around in this loop-de-loop and you're going, well, this is what worked last time. Let me try this method. And then just out of nowhere, seemingly, something just clicks and you're like, oh, I'm going to try this, right? And you get that, oh, okay, there it is. And you just know. The other key aspect of intuition is a physical sensation. It's a tingle, it's a warmth, and sometimes it's a tension in your body. You have a resistance to something, but you don't know why. Here's an exaggeration. You're out to dinner, and they put a tray of shrimp down in front of you, and the shrimp looks good and everybody's enjoying it, but you're just like, oh, I don't know why, but I never had shrimp. I just don't think I want to try shrimp. And then it comes into you and your body reacts with a really intense adverse reaction to shrimp. You haven't eaten it, but come to find out, you're allergic to shrimp down the road. So if you get something, now that's an exaggerated example, but if you're in communication with someone, if you're doing something in your day-to-day life and you get a resistance to it, please look into that resistance. We're going to talk about the fear versus the intuition. So we'll be able to discern the difference. Intuition is a combination of your subconscious awareness. Your brain is processing information faster than you realize. So in your subconscious, the answers are coming, 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 and your brain is sending it out faster than this brain, your subconscious brain, than your literal brain can process, right? You have an energetic sensitivity. How many times have you gone into a room of people and you knew who you wanted to talk to? Maybe you made a beeline to them, or conversely, you knew who you wanted to stay away from. You meet somebody and everybody loves this person. They're just the cream of the crop, but you get the icks. It's no rhyme or reason. You just get the icks, right? And the other combination, a factor that's in this combination is spiritual connection. There's a deeper reason to why you're interacting with someone. You might go somewhere because you were asked to go somewhere and you really weren't in it wholeheartedly. But when you get there, you're like, this is why I'm here. So intuition is a combination of subconscious awareness, energetic sensitivity, and a spiritual connection. All three of those things, as you're using your intuition, believe it or not, will be working, quote unquote, behind the scenes. Okay. This helps you make better decisions. It helps you problem solve. It helps with relationships. You don't trust somebody, but you have no proof why. It's in your gut. What it's going to do then is marry with your intellect and your logic, and you're going to go figure it out, right? Decision making, the right path. Well, this is what I've always done. I've always gone here, but why am I being guided here? Be curious enough and courageous enough to take the path less traveled. It sounds cliche, but the reality is we are all being called to take the path less traveled. Once you stop traveling the path of the familiar, of the known, it's going to turn on like a faucet. You're just meeting resistance because the brain is trying to keep you safe. Now, how intuition works with personal growth. This guides you towards alignment with your true self. When you can see what expands me, what contracts me. I'll use a stupid analogy. Lima beans. I can still, to this day, my grandfather, I swear, I don't know if this is a form of abuse or trauma. I don't know. I knew I didn't like lima beans, yet he insisted that I had to like lima beans. Eat those lima beans. The texture, I can still feel the skin-like substance in me. I can look at lima beans, even if it's online or on a show where they're eating them, and I get that contracted, I want to go into this ball. My body has an adverse reaction. I just know. Conversely, I look at a big plate of pasta. I'm happy to dive face down in it. It's no problem. It expands me. You know, it's funny because the other night I made pasta for dinner and my husband's like, wow, you're really happy today. And I'm like, we're having pasta for dinner. You know, I get excited over that, right? So think about simple, silly things that expand and contract you because that's what intuition, what your inner knowing will tell you. Okay. Intuition is a skill. Everybody has it. You know, people that are trying to sell you on, oh, you know, your third eye's blocked, or, you know, this isn't, you aren't meant to do this. That's not true. That is not true. Everybody has this. Just like everybody can sit down and chomp away on the piano keys. I got my grandson's got the little piano, and I'm doing the thing, and I'm like, oh, I ain't no good at this, right? Like, but here's the reality. If I sat down and I took a lesson, whether it's online or, you know, with somebody in person, I could get good at it, right? Because I have an ability. My fingers can move, they can pick up, they can hit the keys. I'm logic. I can look at the numbers on the key on the keys, right? I can do it. I just need some practice. This is same of intuition. So I want to talk about the teaching types. I'm going to teach you the types of intuition. Intuition comes in different forms. You are going to experience it differently. Understanding these types are going to help you recognize your strength when it comes to using your intuition. First of all, there is emotional intuition. This is the ability to sense emotion and energy of others without any verbal clues. Now, sometimes people call this an empath. I guess I'm just not going to use that word. I think we're all empathetic. Is that how I say it? We're all empaths on some level. So I'm not going to use that word. It feels redundant. You suddenly feel somebody's joy, somebody's sadness, somebody's anxiety. I'll give you a perfect example. And this is a very vulnerable personal example. My son is going through a divorce right now, and they had a baby. They have three children, 6, 4, and 15 months. When the 15-month-old was born, they were on the cusp of getting separated. So that baby at 15 months old now, he picks up on everybody's anxiety. His mother is overly anxious. He came out anxious. He has rashes on him. He's very anxious. I've started to do autonomic nervous system work on him, which you can see the difference. But when he is anxious, he doesn't know to be anxious. He's 15 months old. He's been anxious since he came out and probably before. He doesn't know it. So where do you think he's getting it? He's absorbing it. It's coming into his body. We pick up other people's energies. So how are we going to strengthen it? We're going to pay attention to how you feel around different people. And I want to make a point here, and I am not talking politics because I don't. And if you've noticed, I don't know if any of you are friends with me on Facebook. I've been less and less on Facebook. I stay with our group because that's where I choose to spend my time. I don't like Facebook. It is a breeding ground for negativity, and I don't like it. I want you to notice, I'm going to say a name and you're going to get a reaction immediately. I don't want to know it. I don't care what it is. This isn't political. Notice your reaction. Donald Trump. That's it. Most people don't need anything more than that name to put them over here or over here. That I use as an extreme example, okay? Forget the politics, take the energy. Maybe you have a Donald Trump in your personal life. Maybe you have somebody, okay, so conversely, Jesus, you get a certain feeling. When I hear Jesus and I feel Jesus, it's a warmth in my tummy that comes up my chest, and I just feel this beautiful energy come in. Not always with everyone. Okay. So be aware of how you feel around different people. This means the people in your day-to-day life. This means the people that you see on TV. Because here's the thing about this. If you watch a drama show on a network and there's a character on there that just rubs you the wrong way, that's a great thing because it's teaching you how to feel into your body. Conversely, we love to root for the underdogs. We love to cheer. We feel their energy when they make successes. These are all exercises. Nobody's teaching this like this because people think that it has to be something so extraordinary that it has to be magical and mystical. But everything around us is our teacher, even those drama shows. So pay attention next time you're watching a show. I watch a lot of true crime TV. And so I feel into the characters on true crime. Oh, are they lying? Is this happening? And I like to put the pieces together. And it's like me playing and developing my intuition. So next we have physical intuition. Your body serves as a compass, an intuitive compass. Physical intuition manifests through sensations like a gut feeling, a tingling, or even a discomfort that signals a yes or no. Now that is I'm sorry. Yes, physical intuition. That is emotional is also how you feel about it. You're noticing your feelings. I have my notes backwards here. So you feel it in the pit of your stomach when something doesn't feel right. You don't know why. And a lot of times the saying will be, oh, something just feels off. Something isn't right here. What is it? There's a saying, something smells fishy. Think about all the different sayings we have that we use when something feels off. Something's out of alignment here. His actions don't match his words. He doesn't walk his talk. All of those are feelings that we know, right? We get the feeling. They're not walking their talk. So, how to strengthen this part of your intuition. Tune into your body's sensation when making decisions. Now, I want to show you this quickly. This is a form of muscle testing. Okay. You can put your thumb and your forefinger together like this, and you want to be in this calm state, and you want to put this finger in here, and you want to say, my name is, and you say your right name, and you should not be able to break the link. Then I want you to try it with saying another name that is not your name. My name. So I want you to breathe, get calm, let your shoulders down. My name is Veronica. And then come back. My name is Sue. You will get resistance, but you will be able to push through it. This is a form of muscle testing. Another form of muscle testing, stand up. If your body leans forward, you're standing completely still. Ask a yes or no question. My name is Veronica. If your body leans forward, it's going to be subtle. If your body leans forward, this is a yes. If your body goes no, back, it's a no. Now, with that said, some people might lean left to right, right to left. You have to know your own body language. My name is Cheryl. Cheryl stands up and Cheryl goes to the right when it says her name is Cheryl. So that means, Cheryl, your positive is to your right. You have to play around with this. Keep track of physical sensations to situations and decisions. Okay, so you're trying to decide where to go. Again, super simple. You're trying to decide where to go to dinner, right? your spouse or partner or friend keeps bringing up all these names, and you just like, assuming you're not somebody that goes, oh, wherever you want to go, right? Because that might be a passive aggressive person. You want to be able to have a conversation with that person to find out. So your spouse or friend suggests a place. Notice your physical sensation before you make your answer. It's simple, right? You don't, it's not going to be like your friend wants to go for Indian food and you get a physical reaction to it. Maybe your face even goes, oh, and your friend says, okay, how about if we go to that new Italian restaurant? And your face, your eyes or your body, again, it's that expansion contraction. Next is mental intuition. This is the ability to receive sudden insights or solutions that aren't logical. They don't make any sense. And think of it like this. This is your light bulb moment. Your, aha, that's what it is. I get it. Right? So what do? How do you strengthen it? You trust your first instinct before thinking. Within 2 to 3 seconds, you act on that instinct. Anything longer than that, you're involving your analytical brain. Journal your spontaneous insights and revisit them. Notice the symbol, how they showed up. Write about it. Take a quiet moment to allow intuitive thoughts to surface. Okay, so you've got a dilemma and you're in the track here. It's over and over. Okay, and the brain's doing its job. It's supposed to keep you safe, so it's giving you the familiar, and you're here and you're here. And then this is what I do. Thank you. But I don't want something I already know. I want something new, something different. I'm giving space for that to come in. And boom, in 2 to 3 seconds, honor the first thing that comes in. It might be a word. You might have to put these things like stringing popcorn on string for the Christmas tree. You might have to put one piece of popcorn on at a time. But eventually, the string will just appear. I promise you this works. This is really how it works. Remember, we're wired this way. So spiritual intuition. This type of intuition connects you to the higher wisdom, whether it's through divine guidance, spirit messages, or guides. This is typically when we say, oh, I want to hear from my guides, right? Practice meditation or prayer to deepen your connection. If meditation scares you, because a lot of people have a preconceived idea of meditation, if it scares you, use the word conversation with spirit. Use the word in conversation with spirit. Conversing, use a different word. Prayer, if prayer feels too religious for you, find a word that works for you. Pay attention to synchronicities and signs in your life. I promise you, they are not coincidences. I put in our group, I'm currently reading the book E Squared by Pamela Gout. It's a beautiful book, right? Love those experiences. One of mine was where she says the green car. I chose to look for a beige car because I wanted something that, I knew I wasn't going to find a beige car, right? So lo and behold, I was coming home from the grocery store yesterday and a beige car passed me. And then I saw another beige car. What you give your attention to, you manifest. It's that simple. It's that simple. Pay attention to the signs and synchronicities. And the other thing is spend time in nature. I'm on this kick where I've got the trees and I've been through the whole winter and now we're coming out of the hibernation and I'm out and I'm walking and I'm touching the trees and picking up the twigs and telling them it's going to be all right. I know you're away from your mama, but it's going to be all right. You'll recycle. You'll go. And I'm out there talking and my husband's like, who are you talking to? I'm just telling the twigs they're going to recycle back into the earth. Life is cyclical. Everything moves on. Everything lives on, right? So everybody experiences intuition differently. Don't compare yourself. Some will resonate more with one type, some with another type. Don't be hard on yourself. So, how do you recognize intuition in your everyday life? Subtle versus loud. Subtle nudges, they're gentle, they're quiet, they're a whisper. Or maybe it's a slight physical sensation. Maybe the hair on the back of your neck. You know that whole hair on the back of your neck thing? Maybe you get like a warm shooting in your heart. Here's the thing. How many of us walk around not paying attention to our body until something hurts? How many times, honestly, look at yourself. How many times have you thought about your baby toe until you stub it? We don't think about our baby toe, right? We don't think about our bodies. And yet we're being communicated to this vessel, it houses our soul. Don't you think our soul is alive? It's electrical, it's constantly working. Why wouldn't we be a receiver? We're always a receiver. We're not paying attention. It's like this. Once you learned how to drive, do you look where the gas pedal is? Do you have to look where drive is? Do you have to like you just know it's autopilot. It's autopilot. Don't let life become like that. Become aware of your body. And don't let it get to the point where your body aches and hurts so bad that you just now you have to go do something about it. Head it off. Notice small feelings, gut reactions, right? The other thing is, people ask me all the time about dreams. Last night, the night before, I had some really wild ass dreams. They didn't make any logical sense at all. So what did I do? I do what I do. I got out of my thinking brain. I wrote the dream down and I circled the things that stuck out at me about the dream and I connected the dots. I was stringing the popcorn. Stringing the popcorn. I went back to the early 80s, late 70s when I was working in high school at the Burger King and I was seeing all these faces and one particular face as if it was so like relevant to me and I haven't seen this person in 40 years, right? Like but so I'm working through what does this mean? And it was really symbolic. It wasn't, oh, that person's going to walk across your path. I mean, maybe he will. I don't know. But I was able to extrapolate the message. Dreams are not always literal, just like life is not always literal. Okay. How intuition guides our daily lives. Relationships, you can sense when people are being honest or not. You'll get to know this. Work, know when to speak up, know when to keep your mouth shut, know when to take a new opportunity. Maybe you've been offered a promotion at work. Maybe you've been contemplating retiring because you don't like new management. There's a conflict of values, but you're not sure if it's the right time. You will be sure if you listen to your body. Personal choices. When it comes to making personal choices, you feel drawn towards one option over the other. And here's the thing. How many of you, when you make personal choices, it has to make sense to you? Has to be logical. Well, that doesn't make any sense. I'm not gonna. So here's again, a really stupid example, but I wanted a new chair for my living room. I didn't need a new chair for my living room, but I wanted it, right? And so I'm like, oh, now I got too many chairs. What am I going to do with chair? Well, lo and behold, my niece didn't have any furniture. She needed a chair. I gave her my chair and I got a new chair. Didn't seem logical because I didn't really need one, but that's how it works. Reflect on past times where your intuition guided you. Write it down. When you knew you were guided by intuition, like my chair story, write it down. This is part of the programming. This is part of the familiarity that you're reprogramming. What we're doing is we're creating new neuron pathway, new neurons and new pathways in the brain. If you keep seeing the same symbol, number, or word everywhere, take time. There's a message in that. Everybody says 444 is the sign of the angels. Says who? Where'd that come from? I'm not saying it's wrong, but I'll bet if I researched the history, the logic researched the history of 444, somebody somewhere in history attributed those numbers, and every time we see it, it began to mean something. I'm not saying it doesn't mean that. Maybe it does. I don't know. But we just know 444. Everybody, it's universal. Everybody knows that. So practice with your intuition journal. Write down moments that you just knew something. So, how do we tell the difference between fear and ego? Here's a big one. One of the biggest challenges is knowing whether it is truly guidance or is it just your overthinking and your fear. Fear feels urgent. Fear feels chaotic. Drama comes with fear. If you're being presented a solution and you're going, oh my God, if I do this, this is going to happen, and this is going to happen, and this is going to happen, it's going to cause an effect. That's fear. That's not intuition. Intuition is calm, it's clear, and it doesn't push you. Intuition simply is. There'll be no story behind it. The next time that you're faced with a decision, pause and ask yourself, does this feeling bring me clarity or anxiety? Fear is always 1000% based on the past. Intuition only resides in the present. Fear pulls from past experiences, creating, here you go, what if, what if, what if. If you don't know if you're living in fear or not, notice how many times a day you say, what if? That's fear. Intuition is neutral and it arises in the moment. And guess what? Intuition isn't long-winded. It isn't going to tell you a story and put you to sleep. Again, we're stringing popcorn. You're going to get a hit and then another hit and another hit. Now, I'm not talking in succession. You might get a hit at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, say, okay, I'm going to ruminate with this. I'm going to bring it into my heart. And then, 20 minutes later, you get another piece of the puzzle. And then you get another. This is the beginning of development. I can use intuition like nobody's business. I trust it. It comes in. I don't ask questions. I go with it. And guess what? Here's my thing. And I used to think this was a bad thing. My style of being in the world, I just jump off the cliff and then I go, oh shit, now what? That has been who I have always been. I don't know if ignorance is bliss or what it was, but I was just that person that had that fuck it attitude and I'm just going to do it. We'll see what happens. Because here's what I know. And I have chills. My whole body is like this and I see this big white light. Please, if you write nothing else down, write this down. You will never run out of choices. Ever. It's just not possible. And for those of you that say, I don't have a choice, I say bullshit. You may not like your choice, but you have it. Fear says, last time this happened, it was a disaster. Or remember the last time? Or, oh, geez, what a mess that made, right? Intuition says, this just doesn't align with me right now. It doesn't feel right. I don't know why. It's just not for me right now. It's that calmness. When you're in doubt, ask, am I reacting based on past fears, or does this just feel like a deep inner knowing? Ask. And then in 3 seconds, trust. Intuition and decision making. The pause and feel. Before you make a decision, pause, check in with your body. It's going to be quick. I'm checking, I've got to make a decision. Do I want this coat? It's on sale. It's really good, but geez, I got to pay the electric bill. Pause and feel. And listen, here's a little piece of advice. If you're trying to sit there and finagle how you can pay for the coat and you're going to rob Peter to pay Paul, blah, 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 that's drama. That's chaos. Don't go with the coat. But guess what? The brain will try to rationalize a way to get the coat. 3-second rule. Your first instinct will always be your intuition. It's intuition speaking. And it happens faster than you blink your eye. If you are not aware of it, you will instantly roll into a story and you won't even notice there was a first 2 or 3 seconds. The minute you start hesitating and going and ah and you open the door to fear. The key is to notice your immediate response before your mind adds layers and layers of reasoning. Take some time and write down the last time you just knew things. You don't know why you knew them, you just knew them. It's really important, this last part, to combine logic with intuition. It is a must. Intuition provides direction while logic structures the steps. Hear me say, intuition provides the direction, turn left, and logic says, now do this, and then do this, and do this. And here's an exercise I use all the time. Write your outcome down on a piece of paper, whatever you want to achieve, and then get little notepads or little stickies and say, all right, what are the steps I need? And then within 3 seconds, list out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps. Within 3 seconds. Do you hear me? Because if it's longer than 3 seconds, you're bringing in the old analytical brain. Now, once you have them listed and you've done the dump, the intuitive dump, you're going to go back to the beginning and you're going to say, okay, I'd like to engage my intellect now. Intellect, does it make sense that number 1 should be that? No, 1 should be 3 and 3 should be 4. Then you marry it with intellect. We cannot live purely on intuition or intellect. They must be partners. Intuition will always sense the right path, then apply reasoning to plan it. So that's intuition and intellect. So that concludes the lesson. I would like to see, do either of you have questions? Any of you have questions? Those of you that are watching the replay, if you have questions, just put them in the comment section. But is there any comments either of you would like to make, or any questions you have? Was this clear? Was it helpful? So, oh, Beth, go ahead, honey.
I was just going to comment on that book you were reading that I've read.
Yeah.
And I did the same thing, but it was about, I don't know, 8 years ago. And their orange cars were just not very common. So I picked orange because I didn't even think I'd seen an orange car. I live about 3 kilometers from town and I asked to see orange cars. I saw 5 in 3 kilometers.
Oh my God, it really does work. And, that's the basis for the law of attraction, right? Most of us say, oh, I want to be a millionaire, or I want to make more money. And what do? Our thoughts support the fact that we don't have any money. And so it's like we're sending all of these mixed signals to the universe. Get clear about it. I want to see orange cars. Start with baby steps. I love that. I love that. You will always get what you focus on. I promise you that. So intuition is a very powerful tool, as you can see. And once you learn to trust it and to consistently practice it and be aware of it, this takes commitment and it takes dedication. And I can teach you these little tricks and tools of the trade, but the truth is you can't do this alone. You need either a support group, you need some friends that are going to be that educated enough to hold you accountable. This is not a cookie cutter approach to intuition the way I teach it. I teach very differently. And in the School of Spiritual Arts, I take a holistic approach, meaning I don't just focus on intuition in isolation. We work on the whole person, your mind, your body, your energy, your spirit, to help you build a deeper, more natural connection with your intuition. And here's the thing, we're always going to have life. Life keeps lifing. And the reality is you have to life beyond the lifing, meaning you have to be bigger than the lifing, bigger than the drama. You have to remember whose you are. You have to remember what you're anchored to. In fact, there's a great homework question. What am I anchored to? Put yourself in the middle, draw a big circle and then a smaller circle in the middle. Put yourself in there. What is my anchor? And then go out all sides. List all the things you're anchored to and see what comes up. And don't be critical on yourself, because here's the thing. You might not like the first couple answers if you're being honest. But this is how we get to where we're meant to be. People ask me all the time, what's my purpose? Why am I here? But they're not willing to walk through the muck and the mire to get to why they're here. They're not willing to push up their sleeves and do the work and jump in. They want to pay $97 for a quick course that tells them that they're going to be certified or that they're going to have all the answers once they complete this course. That's bullshit. You're not. You could pay me $10,000. You're not going to have all the answers. It's all bullshit, because this is an evolution. This is why I created Evolve, the workshops, because we are in an evolution period. Now, if you like this and you're wondering, how can I do more of this? What this makes sense to me, but I need help. I don't like cookie cutters. I got you. You join the School of Spiritual Arts. And I will put the link in the description of this video. And we would love to have you on board with us. For those of you that are watching and you are part of the School of Spiritual Arts, I want you to know my heart receives you. I love you. And I couldn't do this without you. And to be honest with you, I do this because I love doing this. I love sharing the information. I love empowering you. And I love it when somebody goes, aha, I got it. That's why I exist. So in closing, I would love to have you in the School of Spiritual Arts. And those of you that are there, thank you very much. Until next month, I will see you in our next Evolve class. Stay well and don't forget to practice.